It sat behind the glass, silent, still, watching. He laughed, ignored the warnings, and knocked. Just 2 knocks. 3 hours later, he was dead. Coincidence? Maybe. But would you knock too?
Annabelle and the Curse of Death.
Donna, a 28-year-old nursing student, had just returned to her apartment after a long day at the hospital. It was her birthday, and waiting for her on the bed was a small wrapped box sent by her mother. Inside was a gift, thoughtful, simple. A Raggedy Ann doll. Its stitched red smile, the soft red yarn for hair, the plain button eyes, all so typical. Nothing scary, nothing unusual, just a doll. Donna placed it on her bed as a room decoration. At first, it was small things. Donna would leave the doll sitting on the bed, arms at its side, legs stretched. But when she returned from school, it would be in a different position, sitting cross-legged, arms folded, head turned slightly. She asked her roommate, Angie, if she had touched it. Angie said no. They both laughed it off. Maybe it was gravity, they said, or maybe one of them had forgotten. Then the doll started to move rooms. One afternoon, Donna found it sitting on the couch with its legs crossed. Another time, it was kneeling in the hallway as if praying. They were alone in the apartment. Weeks passed. Then something even stranger began to happen. Donna and Angie started finding pieces of parchment paper, crumpled, old, as if taken from an antique book. On each one, childlike handwriting scratched out the same thing over and over. Help us. Help Lou. Lou was Angie's fiancé. He had always felt uneasy around the doll. But the notes, that was impossible. Neither Donna nor Angie owned parchment paper. They didn't write them. They didn't know where they were coming from. Then came the night. Lou stayed over. He awoke in the dead of night, drenched in sweat, unable to move. His eyes were wide open, but his body was paralyzed. The room felt heavy, thick, with an unseen weight. And then he saw her. Annabelle was at the foot of the bed. She didn't move like a toy. She moved like something pretending to be human. She crawled slowly up his chest, sat on him. He couldn't breathe. Then he woke up, screaming, gasping, scratches on his chest. Donna and Angie were terrified. They contacted a medium, a local psychic, to perform a seance. The medium entered, touched the doll, closed her eyes, and began to speak in a voice that didn't sound entirely human. She claimed that the spirit was that of a 7-year-old girl named Annabelle Higgins, who had died tragically on the land before the apartment was built. She was lonely. She wanted comfort. She wanted to stay. Moved by pity, Donna made a decision. She said yes. She told the spirit she could inhabit the doll. She gave it permission.
From that moment forward, the activity intensified. The doll didn't just move anymore. It would appear in places where no one had been. It would vanish. Doors slammed. Whispers in the night. Shadows across the hallway. Lou kept having dreams, but this time he heard a voice. And the voice didn't sound like a little girl. Because it wasn't. There was no Annabelle Higgins. There never had been. The spirit was lying, pretending, wearing the mask of a child. But its true face was older and far more dangerous. Finally, in desperation, Donna reached out to a priest, but the priest felt unease, an energy he couldn't explain. He contacted two people known for dealing with the unexplained, a couple who had investigated thousands of supernatural cases, a pair both feared and respected in the paranormal world. What the Warrens discovered inside that doll shocked even them. This was not just a haunting. It was a conduit, a vessel, and its purpose was possession. Next time, in Part 2, The Demon Revealed.
The Demon Revealed. Some hauntings are harmless, echoes of lost souls. Some are playful, mischievous. But this was different. This was not a ghost. This was not Annabelle. This was something far older, far more dangerous. Ed and Lorraine Warren stood on the threshold of the apartment. Lorraine, a clairvoyant, paused before entering. Her fingers trembled slightly. The air felt thick, charged with dread. Donna opened the door. Angie stood behind her, pale, exhausted. The doll sat silently on the couch, its head tilted just a little too far to the left. Ed scanned the room with calm eyes. Lorraine stared at the doll, then whispered, "It's not the doll that's haunted. It's the force attached to it. This is no little girl." The Warrens asked Donna and Angie to recount every detail. As they spoke, Lorraine closed her eyes and focused on the doll. The spiritual residue was overwhelming, thick, almost sticky. Not sad, not lonely, predatory. Ed explained what was happening. An inhuman spirit, likely demonic, is manipulating you. It pretended to be a child so you would feel sympathy. You allowed it in, and now it wants more. Demons don't inhabit objects, not directly. They attach themselves to a place, person, or object as a means to an end. They crave control and ultimately possession of a soul. And they don't attack immediately. No, they observe. They manipulate. They confuse. It begins with fear, then dreams, then scratches, isolation, paranoia. By the time the victim realizes what's happening, they're already halfway possessed. Donna was pale. She looked at the doll, now silent, on the chair. The night before the Warrens arrived, something terrifying happened. Donna had heard scratching noises coming from inside her bedroom. She opened the door. The doll was not on the bed. It was standing upright, leaning against the wall. Suddenly, the crucifix above her bed snapped off, thrown across the room. Donna screamed. The door slammed shut behind her. Angie banged on the door, but it wouldn't open. Inside, the room grew cold. The lights flickered. Donna said she heard breathing, not human breathing, wet, animalistic, wrong. The Warrens called in a priest, Father Cook. The priest arrived reluctantly. He had heard of the case but didn't want to come. Still, his faith was strong. He performed a house blessing, a series of prayers to cleanse the space. As he began to pray, Lorraine felt pressure in her chest. Her hand trembled. Ed watched the doll carefully. It seemed to pulse. At the final amen, a window shattered in the kitchen.
The doll had fallen face first on the floor. After the blessing, the Warrens took the doll. They placed it in a bag, sealed it, and strapped it in the back seat. As they drove through narrow roads in the Connecticut forest, the car began to swerve. The steering locked. The brakes failed. Twice, they nearly collided with trees. Ed reached into the back seat, pulled out a vial of holy water, and sprinkled it onto the doll. Immediately, the car stopped swerving. The rest of the ride was silent. They thought the worst was over. They were wrong. Back at the Warren residence, the doll was placed in their occult museum in a wooden case sealed with prayer and glass. A handmade sign was nailed to the front, warning, positively do not open. Even so, strange things kept happening. The doll would shift positions inside the locked case. On one occasion, a priest who visited the museum picked up the doll and joked, "God has more power than this thing." On his drive home, his brakes failed. He survived. Barely. Lorraine later explained in interviews, "It's not about the doll itself. It's about the energy you give it, the belief, the arrogance. When you mock something you don't understand, you give it power. People think they're challenging evil, but in truth, they're feeding it." Annabelle now sits behind blessed glass, contained, watched. But her story is far from over, because one day, someone came to the museum and dared to mock her. In Part 3, The Man Who Knocked on the Glass.
Part 3. The Man Who Knocked on the Glass. Annabelle now sat behind locked glass in the Warren Occult Museum. Day after day, people came to see her. Some came with fear, some with reverence, and others came with arrogance. One such man came one rainy afternoon. He was young, mid-20s, a thrill seeker, a biker, and, worst of all, a skeptic. He walked into the museum with his girlfriend. She looked uneasy. He looked amused. Ed Warren was giving a tour to a group of visitors. He stopped in front of the doll's glass case. "This is Annabelle," Ed explained. "She has caused deaths. She has survived exorcisms. She is not a toy." The biker snorted. He walked over to the glass. He knocked twice. Hard. And then he laughed. "You're just a rag doll," he said. "Come get me." Ed's voice dropped. Cold. Serious. "You should leave now." The man shrugged. His girlfriend begged him to stop. They left. But Annabelle never forgets. Less than 3 hours later, the man lost control of his motorcycle on a clear, dry road. He slammed headfirst into a tree. He died instantly. His girlfriend survived. Shaken, bruised. She told the police, "He was laughing, and then he just jerked the handlebars like something pushed him." No skid marks, no mechanical failure, no explanation. Only a knock on the glass. That was not the first case, nor the last. Another man challenged Annabelle and later suffered a brain aneurysm. A woman took a photo and mockingly posted it online. The next morning, her house caught fire. Dozens of such cases surround Annabelle. Few make the news, but they exist. Documented, whispered, feared. Narrator. This is no coincidence. This is a pattern, and patterns have meaning. There's only one rule at the museum. Don't touch the glass, don't provoke the doll. But every year someone does.
And every year, someone regrets it.
Part 3. The Man Who Knocked on the Glass. Annabelle now sat behind locked glass in the Warren Occult Museum. Day after day, people came to see her. Some came with fear, some with reverence, and others came with arrogance. One such man came one rainy afternoon. He was young, mid-20s, a thrill seeker, a biker, and, worst of all, a skeptic. He walked into the museum with his girlfriend. She looked uneasy. He looked amused. Ed Warren was giving a tour to a group of visitors. He stopped in front of the doll's glass case. "This is Annabelle," Ed explained. "She has caused deaths. She has survived exorcisms. She is not a toy." The biker snorted. He walked over to the glass. He knocked twice. Hard. And then he laughed. "You're just a rag doll," he said. "Come get me." Ed's voice dropped. Cold. Serious. "You should leave now." The man shrugged. His girlfriend begged him to stop. They left. But Annabelle never forgets. Less than 3 hours later, the man lost control of his motorcycle on a clear, dry road. He slammed headfirst into a tree. He died instantly. His girlfriend survived. Shaken, bruised. She told the police he was laughing, and then he just jerked the handlebars like something pushed him. No skid marks, no mechanical failure, no explanation. Only a knock on the glass. That was not the first case, nor the last. Another man challenged Annabelle and later suffered a brain aneurysm. A woman took a photo and mockingly posted it online. The next morning, her house caught fire. Dozens of such cases surround Annabelle. Few make the news, but they exist. Documented, whispered, feared. Narrator. This is no coincidence. This is a pattern, and patterns have meaning. There's only one rule at the museum. Don't touch the glass, don't provoke the doll. But every year someone does, and every year someone regrets it. Part 4. Echoes of the Possessed. Donna, the original owner of the doll, never spoke publicly again, but neighbors say she moved far away, changed her name, never touched another doll. Lou, who was attacked, reportedly suffered night terrors for years. He moved to Arizona and became reclusive. And the apartment? Vacant. No tenant ever stayed longer than 6 months. Cold spots, voices, electrical issues, shadows at night. Paranormal researchers refer to it as spiritual residue, the leftover energy of an entity, especially one demonic. Even when removed, a part of it stays. It's like a fingerprint or radiation. Annabelle left a mark. Years after the Warrens passed away, their museum was temporarily closed. The doll was relocated during renovations. During that time, there were reports. A museum guard heard whispers at night. "Let me out." A delivery worker said the box he was carrying moved on its own. A paranormal vlogger who sneaked a photo claimed his camera melted from the inside. Some experts claim this is all mass hysteria, that fear is contagious, that belief is stronger than truth. But others, those who've seen what fear alone cannot explain, they know better. Narrator.
There's something about Annabelle that transcends belief. Whether you fear her or mock her, she notices you. In 1981, a young priest visited the Warrens. He laughed at the stories. He touched the case. On his way home, his car lost control. He hit a tree. He survived, but his hands never worked the same again. He never performed another mass. A famous psychic once said, "She doesn't need to leave the case. She can reach through time, through intention, through ego."
Part 5. The curse never sleeps. Annabelle is locked away, but evil like hers does not sleep. It waits, watches, remembers. Since her containment, the museum became infamous. Visitors leave crosses, salt, letters of apology. Some come back years later to say thank you for surviving, for not mocking, for being spared. But others never return. The Warrens kept notes on every Annabelle incident. The case file includes handwritten testimonies, photos of scratches, hospital records, voicemails from crying survivors. Some of them were never released to the public. So why are we drawn to her? Why does a doll invoke such terror? Because Annabelle is proof. Proof that evil hides behind the ordinary, that belief is dangerous, that curiosity has a price. Narrator. And sometimes belief is all it takes to wake something up. In 2020, rumors spread that Annabelle had escaped during the pandemic. It was false, but thousands panicked. Streams exploded, searches spiked. Even skeptics were afraid. Why? Because deep down, everyone knows what happens when you mock what you don't understand. By watching this, you've invited her in. Not her spirit, but her memory, her symbol, her echo. Narrator, quiet, steady. Don't worry. You'll be fine. As long as you don't joke. As long as you don't challenge her. And above all, never, ever knock on the glass.